I do want to get to New Hampshire in a moment, but before that, you are left off the primary ballot in a few states. And you said this, quote, "It is tragic to witness fundamental American democracy under attack, not just from far-right MAGA Republicans, but the very establishment of our own Democratic Party." Can you elaborate on that comparison a little bit for us?
Sure. I was trapped in the House chamber on January 6th when President Trump inspired an insurrection. Call it what you will, a mob, a riot, an insurrection. The objective was clear. They wanted to prevent the counting of the ballots. So set that aside for a moment. Democrats right now are actually trying to prevent the printing of ballots and furthermore trying to prevent voters from opining on those ballots, not by violent mechanisms, but by, frankly, inappropriate backroom mechanisms. So forget the mechanism, but think about the objective. It's the same thing. It's the same danger. It's the same affront to democracy. That's why the parties are a big problem. They are not public institutions. I hope people recognize this. They are private institutions. Who are these people? Who are the party, right? In a democracy, we should have transparency. We should know who's pulling the levers. Donald Trump is essentially the GOP leader, and Joe Biden is essentially the Democratic Party leader. So when the Democratic Party leader is silent, won't debate, is oppressing his other candidates and keeping them off ballots, and literally suppressing voters in Florida, in North Carolina, in New Hampshire, we have a problem. And the truth is, very few media outlets are covering something that I consider to be a very significant erosion of democracy playing out right in front of our eyes. And I call it the hypocrisy of democracy because it's real. And I am on a mission to expose it. And I do believe once people wake up, they're going to be shocked. And that's how we seize it back, by voting for people of principle and character that won't let this happen, whether they're Democrats or Republicans.
From what you're saying right now, then, do you think the Democratic Party is as big as a threat to democracy as those who tried to overturn the election in 2020?
They have a chance to rectify it. I don't think they will. But the answer to the question is, I think both parties right now are acting in manners that are counterproductive, certainly. And I think, yes, destructive to democracy. Now, I will say this, the GOP competition right now is transparent, it's energetic, it's vigorous, and it's public. Now, the front runner refuses to debate. I think that's shameful. I think Donald Trump should be on that debate stage for people to see him. But do I see a party, at least the GOP right now, exercising democracy? I mean, I have to be honest, yes. Do I see a Democratic Party exercising democracy? No. I see a Democratic Party actually working very much against it. And that's why I celebrate Marianne Williamson, who is now in her second race. It takes courage. It takes someone with the willingness to compete. Ramaswamy dropped out last night of the race. Do I see things the same way as him? No. Do I think some of his contentions and propositions were ridiculous? Yes. But do I celebrate people who are willing to put it on the line, enter these competitions to give voters an option? Absolutely. I think that's the most important foundation of democracy. And right now, the Democratic Party is not fostering it. They're not watering those seeds. If anything, they're poisoning them. And that's the truth. And I think we need competition badly, both inside the parties and for the parties.
Those are some strong words. So do you think that this falls on President Biden then? Because a big part of his platform, both last election and this one, is I'm not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Basically, are you saying I see Joe Biden as a threat to democracy?
I think here's what I think. Donald Trump is a offensive threat to democracy. I do think he has intention to dismantle it. Joe Biden is a weak defender of democracy. I think we're seeing that. A weak defender of democracy. Why? Because he won't debate. He won't take questions from the press. He won't have a press conference. He won't show up in front of voters. He won't do a town hall. And he is yet to opine on anything we just discussed. Answer the question directly. Why won't you debate? Answer the question directly. Why is it okay to go against state rules and actually deny other candidates of relative prominence on the ballot? And why is Democratic voters the chance to weigh in on their nominee? And if he answers those questions, maybe I'll change my mind. But the absence of answering them, Brittany, is to me the foundational element of a lack of defense of democracy. You've got to answer the questions. And if you're not willing to, then step aside and allow someone who is willing to address the questions and run to the fire. Let them take the stage. That could be me, it could be other people, but I'm not going to allow this nonsense to continue quietly behind closed doors and at such risk to the future for my children and future generations of this country.